Discover the incredible journey of a proud black girl who speaks 9 languages. Millionaire left speechless. Maya Matthews stood in front of her students at the community center, her vibrant smile shining brighter than the sun cutting through the early afternoon gloom. The bustling streets of Baltimore hummed with life, a symphony of laughter, shouts from street vendors, and the distant echo of music. She could spill words like water, each sentence mingling with the flavor of 9 different languages that danced off her tongue. But today, it wasn't just about languages. It was about connecting, inspiring, and teaching. Maya's mother, a dedicated nurse, worked overtime to provide for them in their cramped apartment, where the sweet aroma of home-cooked meals often battled with the worries of their sparse finances. Yet, Maya's laughter filled the small space, infusing their everyday struggles with joy. Over time, her gift for languages became a bridge leading her peers away from the darkness of their challenges. As she led a lesson on French, the room buzzed with excitement. "C'est magnifique," she exclaimed, and laughter erupted, but a shadow lurked around the corner. Just days earlier, a wealthy benefactor had visited the community center, his eyes darting around like a surgeon's searching for flaws. When he had come face to face with Maya, he hadn't seen her vibrant spirit, but rather a colorful stereotype. "You're so articulate," he had mumbled, as if she were a rare rescued pet rather than a bright girl with dreams as vast as a horizon. That moment knocked the wind out of her sails. Doubt seeped into her heart like an unwelcome guest. Her mind wrestled with thoughts of inadequacy, a feeling she had never known before. Did her languages mean nothing to him? Just another way to pigeonhole her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The sound of sirens pierced the air like a cannon. A sudden health crisis swept through her neighborhood, sending families scrambling for help, drowning in a sea of panic. Maya's instincts kicked in. She jumped into action, gathering her friends and neighbors. "We have to help each other," she shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. They formed a line outside the community center, sharing food, medicine, and, most importantly, strength. In the midst of the rush, the benefactor watched, stunned. Here was the spirit of a community wrapped in the arms of a 12-year-old girl, her heart as big as her ambition. His perception shifted, feeling the weight of the assumptions he had clung to. That little girl, standing firm, was more than just a colorful stereotype. She was a beacon of hope. As they fought against the tide of uncertainty, Maya and the benefactor began to understand each other as pasts, making their way through layers of misunderstanding. The tension built as he contemplated his next steps, wondering if he would rise above his previous failures. Meanwhile, Maya's heart raced. Could she continue to inspire those around her while secretly questioning her own worth? With everything at stake, both their futures rested on a delicate thread. Would the benefactor rise to the occasion, investing in a future where everyone was valued? And could Maya unearth the strength within her to quiet her insecurities, transforming doubt into determination? The silence hung heavy, the answers painfully out of reach, but the promise of change was tangible. Maya caught her breath as she worked tirelessly alongside her neighbors. Each smiling face around her was a reminder that they were in this together. She distributed water bottles and granola bars, always uplifting the spirits of those weary from worry. Just then, the benefactor approached her, hesitantly stepping through the crowd. "Maya," he said, faltering under the keen gaze of her confidence. "This is incredible what you're doing." "I didn't realize," she shot him a look, her eyes sharp. "You didn't realize what? That we could take care of our own?" The words came out sharper than intended, but she felt the weight of prior judgments behind them. For a moment, silence enveloped them, thick with unspoken truths. He took a deep breath, collecting his thoughts. "I want to help," he said slowly. "I can connect you with resources. We could fund a project, something to uplift this community for good." The sincerity in his tone surprised her. But Maya wasn't just any girl. She knew the power of empty promises. "And what's the catch?" she challenged, hands on her hips. "Are you trying to check off a box on your good deed list?" She shook her head, unwilling to let hope cloud her judgment. The benefactor's expression faltered at her skepticism. "I'm here because I realize how wrong I was. I want to change that perception. The only catch is I need your guidance, Maya. You understand their needs better than I ever will." She studied him, searching for any signs of him reverting back to his old view. The doubt lingered, but the sincerity in his voice resonated. Something inside her stirred a flicker of possibility. "I'll think about it," she finally conceded. "But if we do this, it has to be our project. We'll lead it, not you." A spark lit his eyes. "Absolutely. Whatever you need." As days turned into nights, the sounds of sirens slowly diminished, replaced by the vibrant energy of her community's resilience. The benefactor returned frequently, each visit a step toward building a partnership. Together, they began laying the groundwork for language and cultural workshops that would empower not just Maya's friends, but the entire neighborhood. But amidst the rebuilding, old insecurities crept back, whispering doubts in the quiet moments. What if this was all a facade? What if he was just looking for a way to make himself feel better? Each smile she saw hid layers of struggle, yet the excitement of newfound hope began to soften her heart. One afternoon, as Maya worked on a flyer for their project, she paused as a new thought occurred to her. What if we included immigrant families who come here searching for a better life? She mused, excitement bubbling up. They have stories and skills to share too. The benefactor nodded vigorously, yes. That's the heart of it. This is about lifting each other up, making sure we all have a voice. Maya's heart swelled at their vision, weaving fresh threads of hope into their community fabric. But the closer they came to launching, the more her doubt whispered, the fear of being let down again, casting a long shadow on her anticipation. Would she really be able to create a safe place for everyone while battling her own fears? And could the benefactor truly change? As the grand launch day approached, uncertainty coiled tightly in her chest, threatening to unravel the very foundation they had built. Would she find the courage to lead, or would fear hold her back, silencing her dreams once again? Her heart raced as she wondered what tomorrow would bring. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden glow over the hard-worn faces of the community. Maya stood at her kitchen table, coffee mug cradled in her hands, gazing at the flyers sprawled out before her. Each vibrant color screamed potential, but self-doubt gnawed at her resolve. "Today is the day," she whispered to herself, urging the positivity to take root in her heart. But as she prepared for the launch, a whirlwind of uncertainty rattled through her mind. What if no one came? What if she failed to deliver on their hopes? A dull ache settled in her stomach. Her phone buzzed, breaking her reverie. It was a message from the benefactor, reminding her of their meeting later. The thought of him brought conflicting feelings to the surface. He had shown up time and time again, committed and passionate, but there was still that voice murmuring the possibility of abandonment. What if he left her hanging when the real work began? That thought tugged at her as she stepped outside into the cool morning air. The familiar sounds of bustling life filled her ears, children laughing, vendors chatting, and the soft hum of community spirits rising with the dawn. With each step down the worn path, she drew strength from it all. This was her community, a tapestry woven with resilience, stories, and dreams. As she approached the park where they would hold the event, a wave of excitement washed over her. Colorful banners danced in the light breeze, creating a festive atmosphere. Groups of volunteers chatted animatedly, keeping spirits high. Maya welcomed them, dispensing hugs and words of encouragement like confetti. It felt good to be a part of something bigger, something meaningful. But just as she began to feel anchored in that joy, her eyes caught sight of the benefactor approaching. He looked ready for the day, his casual confidence nearly a contrast to the nervous energy buzzing in her chest. "Maya," he called, waving with undeniable enthusiasm. "Maya." The children echoed, running up to her with grins that seemed contagious. All right, everyone gather around," Maya shouted, rallying the crowd. As they huddled in close, she locked eyes with the benefactor. "This is our time. Today, we show everyone what we can do together." Cheers erupted, and for a moment, the weight on her heart lifted. But then the nagging doubts returned. What if it didn't go as planned? Almost as if reading her mind, the benefactor leaned in closer. "No matter what happens today, we've already accomplished so much. Remember that," he said softly, his sincerity washing over her like a warm tide. "You're right," Maya replied, voice shaking slightly. "But what ifs are just roads we have yet to travel," he replied. "Let us take the plunge together." Time blurred as the event commenced. Laughter mixed with stories of the past, sharing and learning like water flowing through a stream. Something profound was happening as they all collected notes, exchanged ideas, and shared glory in their cultural richness. Maya felt that hope she had nurtured in her heart flare into a real flame. But just as the energy peaked, she noticed a small group standing off to the side, faces she recognized but hadn't spoken to in a while. They wore skepticism like armor, arms folded, casting wary glances. Maya's heart sank as she felt a ripple of doubt surface again. "Why aren't they joining us?" A familiar voice broke through, a friend asking the question that twisted in her mind. Maya drew in a deep breath, resolve steadying her stance. Perhaps today, she could be the bridge. "Give me a minute," she said, determination thrumming in her veins. One step at a time, she approached the group, her heart hammering in her chest. "What is it?" she asked carefully. One of them spoke up. "We thought you needed to hear that we're here to support you." But what? The words hung suspended. Would they challenge her? Reject her vision? Maya stood tall, feeling the weight of their gaze, knowing she had everything to lose. But she also had the strength of the entire community behind her, and maybe this was the moment of truth she had been waiting for. Would it be enough to unite them in hope? Or would the shadows of doubt stifle the voice she so desperately wanted to share? As silence enveloped them, Maya waited, breathless yet resolute, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. Maya's heart raced as the group continued to watch her, their eyes a mixture of concern and curiosity. She felt the weight of their silence, the unspoken words hanging in the air between them like a dense fog. In that moment, the bustling park around her faded into the background. "Listen," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor beneath. "I know the rest out. I can feel it, and I've had my share of it too." But this she gestured to the lively gathering behind her. "Isn't just about me. It's about what we can all do when we come together. Each of us has a part to play." The leader of the small group, a woman with sharp features and a guarded expression, opened her mouth as if to speak. Maya prepared herself for the pushback, ready to defend her vision. "We've watched you build this event," the woman said slowly, "but it feels like we're on the outside looking in. We hear the excitement, but what happens when the thrill fades? Will you still be here?" Maya felt the heat rise in her cheeks. The woman's honesty hit deep. She thought about her own fears, about the benefactor's presence, and what it meant for her community. But she also knew the truth had never been just her fight. "I promise," she replied, her pulse quickening. "I'll be here. When the excitement fades, I'll still be advocating for you all. I want to hear your voices as much as I want to share mine. This community thrives when we all thrive together." Some of those skeptical faces softened, the tension in the air loosening ever so slightly. But before Maya could let herself relax, the woman stepped closer, a glimmer of challenge sparking in her eye. "And if we fail?" Maya swallowed hard. Failure loomed like a dark cloud above their heads, an ever-present fear, a possibility she couldn't ignore. "If we fail," she began, "we learn. We gather. We try again. This is about creating a space where we can share our experiences and lift each other up. Failure isn't the end. It's simply part of the journey." The words resonated with the group, and Maya could feel it. The tension began to melt away, and she noticed that some of their arms uncrossed, their bodies leaning in slightly closer. She pressed on, driven by something greater than her own passion. Let us not let fear keep us apart. We need to choose courage and hope over doubt. I want to help us remove those barriers. Maya reached out her hand, extending an invitation. Walk with me today, will you? Glances exchanged among the group. A mixture of surprise and contemplation flickered in their eyes. One by one, they hesitated, then slowly began to step forward. A little girl from the crowd tugged at Maya's pant leg, eyes bright with innocence and hope. Can we tell stories later? She asked eagerly. That's exactly what I want, Maya replied, kneeling to meet her gaze. Everyone has a story, and today we write ours together. Your voice matters. An uncertain but hopeful murmur spread through the group. The energy began to shift. What started as doubt began morphing into tentative smiles and nods. The day ahead felt electric, ripe with possibilities. Just then, the benefactor approached, an unmistakable flicker of pride on his face as he surveyed the scene. Maya, he said, eyes bright, you're doing a wonderful job. They're listening, really listening. Her smile widened, invigorated by his words. But the moment held potential dangers, too. What if the openness they were building today wilted in the face of future challenges? Could she truly bridge the gap? With the hope of something greater hanging in the air, Maya turned back to the group. Shall we begin? She asked, heart racing in anticipation. Together, they made their way towards the heart of the gathering, the chatter and laughter surrounding them like a blanket of warmth. But as Maya looked back, she caught the eye of the woman again. This time, the doubt had almost completely faded from her gaze. Was this the turning point they all needed? As they stepped toward the stage, her stomach fluttered at the thought of their shared path. But there, in the crowd, she noticed another figure, familiar, yet unfamiliar, hovering on the edge. A chill ran through her. What untold story was about to emerge from this unveiling? Maya's breath caught in her throat when her eyes fixed on the figure at the edge of the crowd. It was a man, tall and well-built, with dark hair that curled slightly at the ends. He stood there, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. A mix of recognition and dread washed over her, like a tide pulling her under. Who is it? Someone whispered, breaking her concentration. Maya blinked, refocusing on the group before her. The tension in the air thickened, her heart pounding louder than the laughter that echoed around them. We're starting with our stories, she announced, trying to tilt the attention back toward the brighter mood. Yet, her gaze kept flicking back to him. It was unsettling, that mix of dread and tantalizing curiosity. The little girl, still by her side, tugged at her sleeve again. Maya, can I go first? There was such innocence in her voice, a reminder of why they were gathered here. Of course. Maya beamed, smiling down at the girl. Everyone has a voice. Let us hear yours. As the little girl stepped forward, a knot of anxiety twisted in Maya's stomach. She had vowed to be here for everyone, but that figure loomed large in her mind. His presence felt like a shadow that threatened to darken the light they were trying to create. Hi, I'm Lucy, the girl declared, her small hands waving in the air. I want to tell you about my dog. His name is Max, and Maya tried to focus on the pure joy radiating from Lucy, but her own thoughts raced. Would that man step in at any moment? What impact would he have on this fragile trust they were building? Around them, the conversations sparked to life. Maya could hear snippets of stories, laughter mingling with the sounds of tiny feet running across the grass. The air shifted as their collective energy began to fill the park, weaving connections among the people, creating a tapestry of shared experiences. When Lucy finished her tale, applause erupted. Maya couldn't help but smile, feeling a warmth that spread throughout her chest and assurance that they were creating something beautiful here. Yet, when she glanced back at the man, he hadn't moved. Who is he? She murmured to herself, overwhelmed by the conflict she felt. With every story shared, she could feel the group knitting closer together, but the tension in her heart didn't fade. How could one person evoke so much fear just by standing there, doing nothing? All right, she called out, determined not to let her nerves show. Who asked next? A chorus of new voices rose, eager to share. But even as they spoke, Maya's mind struggled to shift away from the figure of the man with the remnants of familiarity that scraped at the edges of her memory. The laughter and joy around her swirled, blurring into an indistinct background. As a young man shared his story of resilience through hardship, Maya felt hope filling the air again. It was a reminder of the strength that came from vulnerability, how important it was for each of them to voice their truths. Yet, her eyes betrayed her thoughts, flicking toward the man, who now stood with an expression a complex mix of grief and pride. What was his story? Did he hold a connection to her past? Suddenly, amidst the laughter and sharing, the man stepped forward, piercing through the joyful sounds like a spear. Maya's heart thudded in her chest. This was it. Would he disrupt this moment of unity? Or was this the reason he had come perhaps to claim his place in this story as well? Can I speak? He asked, voice steady but almost hesitant. The crowd fell silent, eyes turning toward him. Maya's heart raced, caught between fear and anticipation. Could he bring the darkness or help shed light on something yet unsaid? His gaze locked onto hers, intensity flickering like fire. What was he about to reveal? Maya's stomach twisted. All eyes were on him, but all her focus was on the way his gaze brushed against hers, as if the weight of unspoken moments pressed heavily between them. She felt a mixture of hope and trepidation settle over her. What would he say? Would it change everything they had built in this brief moment of togetherness? He began, clearing his throat. I'm Ethan. The name landed in the silence, sparking fleeting recognition in the corners of her mind. I know I'm an unexpected guest. I didn't plan to come here today, but something pulled me in. His voice was deep and resonated through the crowd. Some people shifted, uneasy. Others leaned in, curiosity piqued. I've been on a journey, one filled with mistakes and regrets. He continued, his expression softening as he spoke. But today, I felt like I needed to find a way back to something real. Maya felt the weight of his words. There was a vulnerability to him that made her heart ache. He hesitated, glancing around at the faces watching him. It was a gathering of storytellers, seekers, and dreamers, and he seemed acutely aware of the healing power of their presence. I'm here because I've been running, Ethan admitted, taking a few steps closer. From memories, from fears for myself. But now he paused, collecting himself. I want to face it head on. Maya's breath hitched. This raw honesty radiated from him, igniting her curiosity and concern all at once. She could see glimpses of sorrow in his eyes, a reflection of battles fought, losses endured. Some of you may know me, he continued, but not as the person I am now. I've made choices that hurt people I cared about. I didn't understand how my actions affected others until it was too late. He drew in a deep breath, almost as if to brace for impact. His voice broke slightly, and her name, once a vague whisper in her memory, hit like a thunderclap in the still air. I want to make things right. If you'll allow me, the yearning in his voice hung thick around them, a delicate thread of possibility weaving through the crowd. Maya's heart raced. She wasn't sure where the impulse came from, but she found herself stepping forward. Why now, Ethan? Why today? The question slipped out before she could stop it. His gaze met hers, and she could sense the storm underneath his calm. Because I've watched too long from the outside, he said. I see what this is, what you're creating here, hope, connection, acceptance. I missed out on it for too long. The crowd listened, hanging on to his every word. Maya's mind spun. Part of her wanted to protect the joy they had built, but another part needed to know why he was here, what he could bring to this newfound family of stories. And beneath it all, there was a flicker of something else rising inside her, the need for closure, the need to understand. She took a moment, absorbing the weight of the moment. As colors swirled around them, the brightness of their stories lightened the air. Will you share your part? Let's understand what led you here, she said, urging him gently. Ethan nodded, visibly relieved. Yes, he breathed. I want to share how I fell apart and how I hope to rebuild. Not just for me, but for those I've hurt. It starts here with you all. Maya felt the air vibrate with anticipation. Each voice carried a weight, a history, but this could shift the narrative entirely. As he prepared to dive deeper into his story, a childish laugh echoed brightly through the park. For a moment, it seemed to cut through the tension. But it also reminded Maya of the fragile balance of life, joy entwined with past pain. What truths would emerge from Ethan's journey? Would the stories weave together, or would they unravel in the wake of his confession? The crowd leaned in, expectant. This was only the beginning, and somewhere deep inside Maya, she knew the next words from Ethan could change everything. Ethan took a deep breath, the crowd's attention heavy upon him. Maya could practically feel his heartbeat thumping in time with the tension that hummed through the air. Striking a balance between anxiety and determination, he began to share his story. I grew up surrounded by love, he said, his voice steadying as memories sparked within him. But as I got older, I let the world cloud my judgment, my ambitions twisted me. I became consumed by the idea of success, the need for validation. It took over everything. I stopped listening to the people who mattered most. Maya noticed a flicker of pain flit across his face, and she felt her own heart ache for him. She could see a boy somewhere behind all that bravado, a boy who had once known the warmth of connection and family. My father, he continued, voice thick, he worked multiple jobs just to give us a decent life. He taught me about hard work and humility, but I forgot that lesson. I chased quick wins and wrapped myself in false victories. I became someone I didn't recognize. And in that pursuit, I hurt people I loved. Shifting on his feet, Ethan hesitated, the crowd completely enveloped in his revelations. He looked directly at Maya again, and tenderness flashed in their shared moment. You were one of them, Maya. When I walked away, I didn't just lose you. I lost myself. A ripple of shocked gasps traveled through the audience, but Maya could only focus on the sincerity etched into his features. His past mistakes felt like weights pressing on him, and her instinct was to reach out, to somehow comfort him without words. I didn't appreciate the beauty of connection until it was too late, he admitted, his voice softening. I made a terrible choice, and I thought I could outpace the pain. I thought if I ran fast enough, I could escape it. But you can't run from the things you've done. You carry it with you. Maya could see him wrestling with his truth, and it ignited a flicker of hope within her. Whatever shadows lingered in his heart, he was facing them now, right here. I came to find my way back to this community, he declared finally, a note of urgency lacing his words. Today, I don't just want forgiveness. I want to strive to be better. I want to contribute to this, to rebuild everything I've torn apart. I want to heal, not only for me, but for all of you who deserve more. As he spoke, tears brimmed in Maya's eyes. She could almost feel the moment swirling around them change, a sense of renewal and possibility sprouting in the wake of his honesty. She breathed out, struggling to keep her voice steady. But just as the words hung in the air, there was a sudden commotion at the back of the gathering. A voice shouted, cutting through the emotion like a knife. You think you could just show up and fix everything after hurting so many? The accusation echoed harshly, sparking tension anew. Maya's heart sank as faces turned towards the source of the interruption. The smile that had been fluttering on her lips now caught in her throat. Ethan's eyes darted toward the voice, and the air shifted again, heavy with uncertainty. How would he respond now? Would the wound of the past tear open once more? Maya felt a wave of dread wash over her. What new challenges awaited them? Would they be able to weather the storm together? Or had Ethan's past finally come back to haunt him? The crowd held its breath, teetering between hope and despair. The next few moments would define everything they had fought to create. What would Ethan say? How would it all change? Ethan's shoulders squared as he shifted to confront the voice. The tension in the air was almost tangible, thick like fog, and for a moment, the crowd held its breath, caught between anxiety and anticipation. I know I can't change the past, he began, his voice firm yet laden with emotion. But I can't just sit back and let fear dictate my future. I owe it to each and every one of you to try, to at least show that I'm willing to fight to make things right. But the voice at the back only grew louder, pushing through the stillness that had settled over the crowd. What is sincere about your sudden change? You might just be talking. How do we know this isn't just another act? Maya felt her heart race, not just for Ethan, but for the people who were beginning to open themselves to his redemption. There were murmurs of agreement, and she could see the skepticism on several faces. This gathering had been a moment of breakthrough, a chance for healing, but now it threatened to drift back into shadows. Because I'm here, Ethan replied, intensity sharpening his gaze. I had to face what I'd done. I had to confront my own failures before I came back. And it wasn't easy. Sitting in silence with all that regret, it was painful. Maya's breath caught as she watched him pour his heart out. His vulnerability was palpable, cutting through the doubt. She noticed a shift in the crowd's energy, some folding their arms defensively while others leaned forward, intrigued. And I don't expect anyone to forgive me right away, he continued. It's not just about me anymore. It's about rebuilding trust. It's about honor and respect. A ripple of murmurs washed through the crowd, some nodding, others still skeptical. No one could fake the agony that had shaped him. Trust isn't built overnight. Another voice chimed in from the back, calmer but still challenging. It takes years. How can we be sure you won't just disappear again? In that moment, even Maya hardened against the questions flowing around them. She longed for Ethan to succeed, but as doubts bubbled up, she realized it wouldn't be easy. Ethan had a long journey ahead, one that began with healing and working to rebuild those bonds. I understand, he said finally, his eyes darker with determination. I'm asking for your patience. I know it will take time. I'm not turning back. I want to be held accountable. To be here, to show you everything I can do to amend my wrongs. A palpable silence followed, and Ethan took a slow breath. Maya felt the gravity of the moment pressing on them all, a test of faith and courage. Then she stepped forward, the weight of her heart guiding her. We're all flawed. We've all made mistakes. Each of us carries our wounds, but it's how we help each other heal that truly matters. She glanced at the crowd, seeking their eyes. We do this together. If Ethan is willing to take this step for us, shouldn't we give him the chance? He is not asking for pity. He is asking to be part of this community again. The crowd shifted again, unsure but curious. It was a light of hope amid the uncertainty, flickering like a candle against the darkness. Please, she implored softly, courage welling inside her. Let us not throw away this opportunity to heal. As the murmurs around them began to soften, Ethan turned to Maya, gratitude washing over him. It was a small moment, but it felt huge. Perhaps this time, they could move forward together. But just then, an unexpected voice boomed once more, cutting through their shared resolve. Don't let it blind you. You can't trust someone who has hurt you before. Maya's heart sank. This wasn't over. Would they be strong enough to confront the doubts and fears surrounding them? Could Ethan truly rebuild the bridges he had once burned? Silence. The cry rang out, forcing the crowd to pause and turn their attention to the figure standing defiantly at the edge of the gathering. It was Marcus, a known skeptic and outspoken member of their community. His brow furrowed, determination radiating from him like a storm. You think it's that easy? Just say the words, and everything is forgiven? Trust is a fragile thing, Ethan. Ethan felt the weight of Marcus's words. The uncertainty in the air thickened, making it hard to breathe. The group had been so close to embracing change, and now the shadows seemed ready to swallow it whole. I'm not asking for forgiveness right now, Ethan replied, his voice steady, but his insides twisted with desperation. I'm asking for a chance to prove I'm serious about making amends. I can't just sit back then. What will you do? Marcus interrupted, his tone sharp. What are you willing to commit to? Talk is cheap. Maya's heart pounded as impatience surged within her. This moment was vital. If they lost this opportunity, where would they be? She could almost touch the wavering thread of hope hanging over them, and she wouldn't let it break. What if, she began, taking a careful step forward, we all shared our fears? Maybe then, we could start to understand one another better. If we can lay open our pain, we can pave the way to healing, right? The crowd murmured, caught off guard by her suggestion. It was a risk. Would they want to open up? Did they trust each other enough? I'm willing, Ethan said, glancing at Maya. I'll go first. The past weighs on me every day. He inhaled deeply, drawing the attention back to him. I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I was strong. But running away only made it worse for everyone, for all of you too. I never meant to hurt you. I wanted to protect you, but I only ended up breaking things apart. Mistakes don't just vanish with words, a woman in the front said softly. Her voice trembled, and Maya recognized her. Jessica, my family was torn apart because of you. You must understand, it's not just about you. I know, Ethan replied, his heart racing as he leaned towards her. I can't change what happened, but I want to work tirelessly for all of you every day to mend what I broke. If it takes years, I'm ready. I'll show up when it hurts, and I'll listen when people talk about their pain. This isn't just about me. It's about rebuilding our community. Maya felt something shift in the air. Hope flickered brighter. She caught the eye of Jessica, who nodded slightly, allowing the walls around her heart to dip just a bit. Then let us give him that chance, Maya spoke, her own voice trembling now. Let us confront this together. I know we're all scared, but today we start a new chapter. If we stay closed off, we'll only remain prisoners of our past. Enough with the talk. Another voice shouted from the back, a man propelling himself to the front. We need actions. Prove your words, Ethan. Make us believe you. The crowd shifted, energy rising, but Maya felt the resolve in her bones. Trust wasn't built overnight. It took moments just like this. Moments where vulnerability met courage, where hurt faced healing. What actions? Ethan asked, tension tightening his voice. What can I do to show you the sincerity of my change? As the crowd simmered with a mix of hope and skepticism, all eyes turned to Marcus. Everyone held their breath, waiting for his response. Deep down, Maya could sense a turning point, a blind spot in the collective doubt. But would the path to reconciliation sink into chaos? Or could it flourish in the light of their newfound commitment? The silence stretched, full of possibility and equally terrifying doubt. What would Marcus reveal next? Marcus stood tall, his brow furrowed, weighing the moment carefully. The tension rippled through the crowd. Everyone was waiting for him to provide answers where there seemed to be none, a lifeline in their sea of uncertainty. If you want us to trust you, Ethan, it starts with your actions, he said finally, clear and earnest. You need to engage with us. Show up, not just today, but consistently. Help with what we need. Be part of community efforts not as a favor, but as an obligation to those you've hurt. Ethan nodded slowly, absorbing the gravity of Marcus's words. I'm ready, he said. I'm ready to work alongside you all, step by step, however long it takes. His gaze swept over the crowd, making contact with several faces, and he felt the pulse of skepticism still shadowing him. Maya inhaled deeply, feeling the moment shift around her, teetering on the brink of breakthrough. Let us define what that means together, she urged, stepping into the space that crackled with tension. We've been through struggles, and everyone here has a vision for the future we want to create. If we share those visions, we can hold one another accountable. What do we need? How can we support each other? Her voice cut through the uncertainty like a beacon, igniting a flicker of hope. Slowly, hands started to rise from the crowd. Jessica, fighting against her emotions, spoke up first. We need mentorship programs for the younger kids. Help them realize their potential before it's too late. If you're serious about working with us, that should be a priority. Agreed. We can build a literacy initiative to support adults seeking job training, chimed in another voice from the back. Ethan's heart swelled as ideas began to flow, bonding them closer. Yes, and what about cultural exchange workshops? He added, excitement coursing through him. We could celebrate our diversity, share languages, cultures, and stories. The energy of the gathering shifted, excitement weaving none too subtly through the air. The hope in the crowd began to blossom. Hesitancies softened into anticipation. People started to talk among themselves, planning ideas and initiatives. Maya felt exhilarated, letting their collective care wash over her like sunlight bursting through a fog. Ethan looked around, drawing confidence from their evolving dialogue. I'll commit to these projects. You'll see me take action moving forward, not just words. I want to just step in when it's convenient. I'll stay engaged even when things get tough. Maya began one voice, breaking through the murmur. It was a community member she recognized, a woman she had spoken with before. We hope this isn't just a fleeting moment. Trust is fragile, and it needs time. With a burning sincerity in his gaze, Ethan met the woman's eyes. I understand. I promise. I will work hard for that trust. Each moment I'm here, each step we take, I'll put in the work. Maya's heart fluttered with the energy tightening around them. It felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, peering into the vast unknown. Yet something compelling pulled her forward. She turned to Ethan, her chest swelling with admiration. The goal is to create a safe place for everyone. When we design spaces for that growth, including all voices we all become stronger together. The crowd nodded, the sentiment rippling. Eyes glinted with renewed hope. Curiosity flickered like flames rekindled. They hustled around, exchanging ideas, and an exhilarating hum filled the air as the sun dipped lower, casting a warm golden light on the gathering. Maya felt that tug of potential. Here was a shift perhaps fragile, but it felt substantial. But then a child's voice rang out, joyous and clear as she called for attention. Can we tell stories again? A chorus of laughter erupted, and the crowd erupted into spontaneous storytelling, their fears and uncertainties giving way to shared tales, heartwarming and authentic. Amid the laughter, Maya felt light wrap around her like a protective blanket. They were becoming a family, one built on intertwined stories and a shared commitment to growth. Hope danced like confetti, brightening their hearts and igniting their spirits. Ethan stood back, watching the transformation unfold before him. His path along this journey was still filled with hard work, but amidst humility and sincerity lay this new purpose. He felt grounded, ready to rise, ready to be part of something beautiful. As the night settled over the park with stirrings of possibility, Maya caught Ethan's eye once more. This was only the beginning, and every story would matter, every voice count. They would build together not just a community, but a brotherhood, a tapestry of dreams woven through hope, resilience, and action. And with that understanding, she beamed, fully embracing the light of tomorrow. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.